Ice and Blood are in S tier, Water, Lightning, Fire, A tier, Ink, Shadow, Berserk, B tier, and then C tier is Confusion, Creation, and Wind. Alright, now before y'all start roasting me in the comment sections, I will be going over every single one of these Bankais and why they're in the rankings they are. Real quick, I'm just gonna go over the rankings and what they mean. S tier is unbeatable. You're going to need multiple people to beat these Bankais. A tier is powerful. These Bankais almost feel like they're supposed to be in S tier, and you're going to need a few people to beat them. B tier is these Bankais have the potential to destroy you in a 1v1, or if you're not careful, they will take you out in a snap. C tier is these Bankais are pretty good. They provide some nice advantages, but they're not going to be doing anything too crazy compared to B tier, A tier, and S tier. Okay, starting off at the top of the list, we have Ice. The reason why Ice is literally the best Bankai right now is because of one move called Glaciality. You place a cloud up, and it freezes everyone under, stuns them, does a good amount of damage. Then on top of that, in Bankai, Ice gets a TP and a passive every 30 seconds, and Ice Age is created around you, stunning everybody. It's going to be very hard to beat Ice Bankai with any of these Bankais here. Ice Bankai has the best offensive capability, defensive capability, and control over the fight. Alright, next up on the tier list in S tier, we have Blood. Blood has two very powerful moves and a very good passive. Whenever you parry, they get stunned, and when you switch to Blood mode, it makes your M1s very big, hit multiple people, cover a lot of area, and then its next move is a large AoE attack where you run at the start, you do like small slashes, and then it grows into this huge AoE that hits multiple people, heals a lot, fills your blood up. It's a very powerful move, and in a 1v1, Blood's going to be very hard to fight. If you have multiple people, it's still going to be very hard to fight. That's why Ice and Blood are in S tier. They're very hard to fight even with multiple people. Alright, now we're on to A tier. The thing about A tier, every single one of these Bankais have one thing in common. You can use the moves and it can be overwhelming. Pair it with Dagger, completely deadly. So, top of the list, we have Water. Water gets 2 extra moves as well as a passive in its Bankai form. Anytime it uses a water skill, it creates a whirlpool that drags people in and steals Reiatsu. So, you can see where this is going. The 2 extra moves Water gets is a Surface Slash, where it just sends out a wave of water in front of you and catches people in it, creates a whirlpool. The other move is 2 big slashes that also creates a whirlpool to keep people in. It's pretty much the Water Bankai. Moving on, we have Lightning. Lightning gets a passive on its M1s. You stun people, slow them, their moves come out slower, their attacks come out slower, and you get 2 moves. It might be on the same grounds as Water. The first move is like a box of lightning that changes between people, whatever. The more people there are, the more it bounces between people and then just does a lot of damage over time. And it also has a rift where you just slash the air, create a rift of lightning. If you can keep people in that rift, it does a crazy amount of damage and really has the potential to 100 to 0 you in 5 seconds tops. Now we have Flame. Flame is like a bit overhyped, but it's understandable why. The Groundbreaker move where it like creates like a crack in the earth, a fissure, flames, and then it slams twice, does about 2 bars of damage. If you have Dagger, it can get really nasty. It has in its Bankai form move that auto tracks and locks onto someone, so you can really chase people down with it. And then whenever it dashes, there's like a huge burst of flames that like disorientates people, does a bit of damage I think, and applies burn. And then its M1s, it has a passive where each M1 inflicts a burn stack, and those can like stack up, so it can like really make for some crazy amount of damages. And that's the A tier list. Every single one of these moves in A tier list can be stacked with each other to create a environment where you're just overwhelmed by everything that's going on, and it does a crazy amount of damage. Why these are in A tier list is because like unlike the ones in S tier, Ice and Blood are able to completely destroy people they set their eyes on. But with A tier list, it's more of like crowd control, do damage to everyone in the area. It's not really focused to one person, but it can be. It's just what the A tiers are better at, taking on multiple people and inflicting some form of status on them. Now we're moving on to B tier. These are the 1v1 Bankais you do not want to be alone with. a lot of people will say that Ink should be A tier or S tier, but realistically, Ink, yes, it has the amp move that does the explosion M1s for its passives, but that's about it. It can't really boss raid because if you've seen the Ink moves, you would know that Ink's moves is more 1v1 focused because the M1s explode when you land Ant, and you have ranged M1s, yes, but it doesn't hit multiple people the way Blood M1s would. That, and whenever you use the painted black shrine that creates a huge thing, that's purely utility to buff your M1s. It does not have what the A tier and S tiers have because it lacks large AoE moves. Ink does not really have a big AoE move that can, number one, deal heavy damage to people, or number two, stun them so you can actually, zone the area out and control the fight. That's why it's in B tier. In 1v1s, that silence, increased M1 explosion damage, and Rayatu drain is going to suck a lot, but can't put Ink any higher because it's not on the level the A tier and S tiers are on. It's more 1v1 focus. I can roll a bunch of clips with people who have Ink Bankai on YouTube, and it's undeniable that Ink belongs in B tier because it's a high B tier for the sole purpose that it does not have any large AoE moves that stuns people or does a lot of damage to everyone in the area. So that's why Ink's gonna be in B tier. I'm not putting it on no pedestal because it's a legendary 1%. This is just true. Alright, now we have Shadow. The Shadow Bankai pretty much allows you to create a realm where you cannot be damaged and all your moves bypass block. Pretty much makes you intangible, and then he gets a move where you pretty much slash at the air, send out 3 huge claws that will apply stun to people, a bit of stun, not too much, and do damage for as long as you can keep someone standing in there. The reason why it's here in B tier is because of the realm. It is the only Bankai that can probably safely take out any other Bankai as long as they can get someone in the realm. Pair that with Visor, might be crazy, I'm just saying. And now we have the Berserk Bankai. The Berserk Bankai gives you 2 moves. It gives you a rush down where you can trample people, very good for closing distance and starting combos because it stuns them, applies cripple effect, and then it has another move where it slams people into the ground 3 times, very good for combo extending, combo starting, and finishing a combo in general. It's just very good 1v1 Bankai. And the weaker a Berserk user gets, like the more HP they lose, the more damage they do overall. So in a 1v1, you do not want to mess with a Berserk user if you don't have a failsafe. And that's going to be the B tier. B tiers are very good at 1v1s. Do not sleep on them or you are going to get demolished before you even know what's going on. I'm going to quickly make an adjustment. I have to put creation here at the bottom because honestly, they gutted the one thing that made creation good. Oh boy, I will get to that later. So for utility, these are going to all be utility Bankais. We have confusion in first place because it's really hard to fight a confusion user when they land M1s on you. Your screen flips, controls get inverted. They have a time rewind where they can rewind the past 15 seconds and get their HP and Rayatsu back. It's pretty crazy what you can do with confusion. It's very strategic, very know how the fight's going kind of Bankai. The reason why it's not any higher in C tier is because there's obviously much more better picks that you can have more fun with, that do more damage and have better abilities overall. Confusion is pretty good, but it has to be in C tier for the sole fact that it's utility. Maybe it would be higher if whenever you rewinded time, all your moves came off cooldown. Like the moves that weren't on cooldown, 4 to 15 seconds will come off cooldown, so you can kind of use your move twice in 15 seconds before it comes off cooldown, obviously. And that's really about it. It has good gap closer that kind of confuses the opponent. They have like all these clones of your character dashing towards them, hitting them and all that. It doesn't do damage, sometimes it does a bar of damage though, so it's very 1v1 focused on trying to catch the person lacking. Don't sleep on a confusion user because if they catch you in an M1 combo, it's probably already over. Moving on, we have Wind. I will explain why Wind is higher than Creation in a second, but Wind pretty much, it removes the handicap that its Shikai version has. You're able to use all your moves without the need to land one move. That and the fact that it has a move where when you toss it out, creates like this huge vacuum that pulls people in, very good for starting combos, and then another another move that rains down a wind pillar on people who are in range of it and stuns them. It applies knockdown, and it's very good for like doing combos, but that's the thing, you need to have like probably a skill box build to really bring out the potential of the wind Bankai. So again, it's pretty utility based. It's going to be in C tier. Could probably do some crazy things if they add more skill boxes or more moves in the future to make combos with, to do high damage with, but for now, this is where it's going to be. Now, creation. Oh, I'm about to get to cooking, bro, because I was deceived in the last video, if I'm being for real. The myriad spike traps before release would literally stun lock people, but now that I've seen some creation Bankai users using the myriad spike trap or whatever spike field to keep people in, it doesn't do what it did before release, and that's honestly what creation was riding on. Yes, sure, it has 4 extra moves in its Bankai, which is pretty crazy. You gotta realize that those 4 extra moves aren't that crazy compared to all the other Bankais. Huge pull that it has, very good for combo extending, but it's just one move, one time thing, pull them back. If you're in a scenario where you're fighting multiple people, it's really just utility to like bring them back in to continue your combo if you have a very good combo that requires you to pull them back in. And its next move is a giant AoE block breaker, like an almighty push type thing. Almighty pull, blocks, breaks, but can't really combo off of it because the range is so huge you can catch people from afar. Yes, it's just free poke damage to whittle down the HP, so there's that. It also has an auto parry defense mode, which lasts for roughly 10 seconds, and yeah, that's pretty much the creation Bankai. It would have been higher, but they nerfed the spike field into oblivion, and just it's easier to escape from. Yes, it keeps them in for a bit, but honestly, with any mobility move, you can get out of that. So I have to put creation down at the bottom because now it's truly worthy of the title, the worst Bankai, because every single Bankai above it has something that's significantly better. That's crazy. They did creation dirty. Yeah, that's gonna be the tier list. S tier, unbeatable Bankais, very hard. You're gonna need multiple people to fight them. A tier, powerful Bankais that feel like they should be in S tier. B tier, these Bankais will destroy you in a 1v1. And C tier, these Bankais are utility based. Do not sleep on them though, because they can catch you lacking. I realize that you can't really rank these Bankais from best to worst because each and every single one of these are very efficient at what they do. They're very good, and ranking them from best to worst really doesn't work. You have to rank them in their respective categories, and this is the category for it. Of course, the ones that are above each other in terms of tier listing are just above each other for the sole fact that in general they'll perform better in fights. If you want to say anything, comment it down below. I'll be reading comments like I did in the last video. That's why I made this video, because honestly, after reading the comments in the last video, I pretty much took some time back to like really fully understand the nature of the game and the Bankais, and I've updated accordingly. Told multiple of y'all wait for the next video because I don't think anybody liked seeing creation placed higher than some of their Bankais. So yeah, and while making this video, I got like so many notifications of all the new subscribers joining the channel. Just want to say I appreciate y'all, and it really gave me a boost of motivation to like really get this video out. Until the next one,